Well, hello, welcome everybody to this episode of Communications and Cigars. I am your host, John Crook, and we got an interesting kind of topic episode for you here today. So we're excited about it, and it's kind of, I think, a good one. Really because of what's kind of happened in the world with communications. We also taught a class this past weekend, and this kind of question came up. So figured, why not? Good chance and stuff to jump right into it. But first of all, welcome to Communications and Cigars. We try to go ahead and meet here and have a live episode or a recorded episode every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, and that works and that doesn't work sometimes. It all depends on what's going on, but, you know, hey, we all have busy, active lives on there. So we're glad that you tuned in. We do want to give a little bit of an update. We did have some winners of these, and we are going to be sending them out there. The winners of our third season premiere, we went along and we gave away our awesome little Communication and Cigars keychain with our buddy. You know what really bends my antenna on there. If you did win, they are coming out to you. We actually have had a large request from people that have said, hey, can I get one? Can I get one? Can I get one? And we were like, you know, yeah, we'll work on it. So we ordered a few more, and then we had them come in, and we're getting them distributed now. So that does take a little bit. So those that did win it, just go ahead and stand by. So as we said, this is Communications and Cigars, where we talk about communications and occasionally we enjoy a nice cigar with it. We are in our third season here, but today's episode is kind of a unique one on there, and that's going to be dealing with Part 90 and Part 95 radios, in particular how it pertains to GMRS. And like I said, this topic came up from the past weekend, and the reason it came up is because we were teaching an introduction to two-way communications class, which kind of covered some of the basis on there. And then this was, you know, like a lot of good conversation came out of it from the students that were in there, but it kind of made me start to think about, you know what? We tried to teach this class. How much details can we get into the class? We had 4 people in the class, but you know what? Sometimes that's actually a really good number on there. But then when I've done other classes and other trainings and stuff like that for people, this question usually kind of keeps coming up on there. So we figured let's talk about that for tonight. But if anytime you ever have an idea for the show, have a question, want to follow up or something like that, make sure you go ahead and email us at communications-cigars@jjkcom.com. Once again, communications-cigars@jjkcom.com. That's right. JJK Communications is a sponsor of Communications and Cigars and our MCOM Chat podcast. They provide all this nice equipment that we have, all the other kind of toys that we get to play with and everything like that on there. So, without further ado, let's jump into what we're talking about tonight, which is Part 90 and Part 95, and those big kind of questions when it comes to GMRS. I do want to point out some of the people that are popping in the chat there and there. So, hi, how you doing? Good evening. Live always there. I thank all the audiences that always come in to do that. We do this show as kind of fun and educational and stuff like that. We don't want to monetize. We don't want to, you know, turn all these kind of things like that on there. So that's what this whole show is all about. So what are we talking about here? So people know sort of what the Part 90 is, Part 95, even Part 97 we'll dive into a little bit here real quick. But what is that? Well, the parts of this relate to the code, the ECFR, okay? The ECFR, and in particular Title 47, is a code or a list of rules is really kind of what it is. And it stands for the Electronic Code of Federal Regulation. That's what ECFR stands for. And what the ECFR basically goes ahead and says is that, hey, we have standards, we have codes, we have regulations and everything like that, and they break them down into different parts. Alrighty. Part 90, 95, and 97 deal with the majority of things that most average people will do. So Part 90 is going to deal with like public safety radios and business class type radios and everything like that on there, okay? Part 95 deals with the personal radio service. So like GMRS type radios here, okay? That and FRS and MERS and CB radios and everything like that. Where Part 97 deals with amateur radios on here, okay? And all of them have specific parts. And the reason they all have specific parts is because they all have and pertain to specific things within there. Alrighty. Part 90 basically states what transmitter certification is, what frequencies can be used, power output, all these kind of things based on frequencies and yada, 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 right? That's good. We need that, right? Part 95 deals, like we said, with personal radio services. So like CB, FRS, GMRS, MERS, those kind of things like that. And then that dictates, and in those, it lists, specific examples and stuff of like, how much power you can use on an FRS channel if you're just a FRS user, not a GMRS user, or how much, power output you can use on a GMRS certified transmitter when you talk on FRS. Yeah, there's a difference. But those are those kind of things that talk about there. Part 97 deals with amateur radio, and we've talked about this too. So I'm not going to beat this too much to death, but we did talk about it a couple episodes. It's actually one of our more popular episodes that we have on the channel here. But one of the things that is happening is that GMRS is becoming very popular. And I suspect it's for two reasons. One, we're getting tired of always carrying around and having these devices, right? We pay a lot for them. We do this kind of thing, but we're always connected to them, and I'll be honest with you, like myself and my family and everything like that, I don't want my daughters and kids, like I have a no technology day. Okay, no technology at all. We can't use tablets, we can't use computers, we can't use phones, we're not playing video games. It's like no technology days. And that's usually on a Sunday, usually I say, because sometimes it goes from week to week or whatever. But people are getting tired of technology. They really are. They want technology for certain things, but everybody's always on social media or Facebook or Twitter or whatever. They're watching YouTube videos and stuff, and people, and I'm not shooting myself in the foot here, I just want to stress that because it's like, John, you're on YouTube. No. What I mean by that is like watching stupid things, like, well, I won't get into that because I know there's some people that I know that put out videos that are really good, and I know there's some other people that I've seen videos that have put out that are like, okay, yeah, okay. But anyways, but just kind of breaking free of that. And what better way to break free is to then have communications, okay? I don't have to pay expensive money for devices, right? An average cell phone bill now, even with family plans and stuff like that, you're down to like $35 or $40. That's if you got a family plan. Let's put it that way. If you don't have a family plan, or you are, like you're by yourself or whatever the case may be or whatever, you could easily be paying $60-$70 a month for cell phone services. Like, oh my God, that's so much. And I agree with you. 110% I agree with you. But like, for an example, if the kids are running around the neighborhood, why do they need to have cell phone? Let them have a two-way radio, right? If you need to communicate within your business, why go ahead and buy them all cell phones? Buy them two-way radios, right? And if you're in the hobbyist and you want to communicate and stuff like that, go ahead, get them an amateur radio, right? That's kind of where we're kind of going to. That's part one. Part two, I feel why GMRS is really popular and becoming popular, because it's been around for a while. I hear a lot of people. I had one person tell me a couple weeks ago, when I was down at an event, they said, man, GMRS, man, this is kind of a newer, cooler, interesting radio service. I'm like, whoa. GMRS has been around for ages, for decades. Easily. I remember in the 90s using GMRS repeaters and stuff like that, okay? So GMRS isn't new. What's new to GMRS is the lower fee. We're now talking $35 for 10 years, where it used to be $70 for 10 years. So I think that's where this rebirth, this reigniting of theirs going into. And what's really cool, in my opinion, about GMRS is how repeaters were back in the 90s is kind of how repeaters are on GMRS. People are talking, having conversations. I travel a lot, and I have GMRS repeaters plugged in, and I hear people talking all the time. But what's also interesting about GMRs, it's not digital, right? It's not. You can't do digital in GMRS legally. There's people that do it illegally. Shame on you. But you can't do it legally, right? So that means I can take my little analog handheld, which people are like, oh, analog's extinct and digital's the devil. No. Analog's not extinct. Digital have its own place. But it's analog radio, and boom, GMRS is right there, okay? But what the biggest thing that happens a lot is there is a misunderstanding. There's a I don't even know how many to say about it, but people kind of start to be like, well, what radio can I use? What equipment can I use? Because there was companies that made GMR specific equipment. Then that kind of died off. And then people are starting to make GMRS equipment again. But there are a lot of the companies that make these bubble pack radios. You know what I mean by bubble pack radio? I mean, it's like go to Walmart, go to Target, go to Costco, go to Sam's Club, whatever. And you can go ahead and find them. And they're like literally plastic thing. You got two little FRS radios and stuff like that on there. And you can buy them. And those are bubble packs. So like your Cobras, your Midlands, okay, your Unidents, okay. They all make FRS radios, right? And we're not going to dive into the aspects of... By the way, we're not going to dive into aspects of like, FRS versus GMRS. And I was like, no. We're not going to talk about that. But we're talking about what you can and can't use. Because if you hold a GMRS license, you can use more power than a non-licensed FRS user, right? FRS, just real quick, we'll touch on to make understanding. FRS is restricted to FRS channels. You can't use repeaters on them. And they are restricted to either 2 watts or a half a watt. GMRS operators now, we are restricted to 5-watt handhelds, 50-watt mobiles, and we can use repeaters. But once again, what equipment can't use? Well, that's going to come down to the Part 90 and Part 95 certification parts on there. So let's go hop over here real quick. This what we have right here, this is on the website. This is the ECFR. You could do a Google search, ECFR 47. And I'm in Part 95, as you can see here. So EFCR, Title 47, Chapter 1, Subchapter D, Part 95, and I'm in Subpart E. Okay? Now, this is where it gets really important. We're going to jump into it right away. I want you to take a look at Part 95-1761, and then Parent C here, right? No GMRS transmitter will be certified for use in GMRS if it is equipped with a frequency not capable listed in 95.1763. Okay, so I'm going to go down here. Okay, what that means, so let's break it down here. No GMRS is certified unless here. So basically what it's saying is if you want to have a GMRS certified transmitter that it's specifically for GMRS, you have to be able to have these frequencies in there. Okay, alrighty. Now, once again, it has to be there. In addition to it, there are certain things that are required for you to be able to do that. So you must have 12.5 kilohertz. Okay, you must have some of those things on there. The transmitter output of a mobile and a repeater and a base station must not exceed 50 watts. Transmitter output power of a fixed station must not exceed 15 watts. Okay, handheld, portable, and base stations. Here you can go see not exceeding 5 watts. Alrighty. So there are restrictions in there. Alrighty, and it's in there. Now, one of the other things that I'm going to go back up here to the part that I was at initially here. Okay, one of the other things is that, and I want to continue here. Unless such a transmitter is also certified for use in another radio service which is authorized and for which certification is also required. Alrighty? Okay. So, get this part here. Now, this is one. No GMRS transmitter will be certified for use in GMRS if it is equipped with the capabilities to operate in the services that do not require equipment certification, such as amateur radio service. Whoa, John, time out. That's a really, really, really huge flipping thing here, isn't it? Yes, it is. Why is that? So let's break down this, and we're going to get to some examples here. Why is that? Okay, we talk about the different parts, Part 90, Part 95, Part 97. Okay, 95 deals with this. 97 doesn't deal with really transmitter certifications, but it deals with the equipment that deals with or is able to operate on those frequencies. So what does this mean? Well, this means you cannot take and just crack open your homemade brew amateur radio, put it on these GMRS frequencies, use it, and be legal. You can't. You cannot. Illegal. You cannot take this device. This is an amateur radio in my hand. You cannot take it, crack it, modify it, change circuits, whatever you got to do, and use it for GMRS. You can't. It says that right there. I have it highlighted right there. I see people using this all the time saying, I'm going to use my GMRS, or I'm going to use my amateur radio for GMRS. Folks, don't. And I bring this up because the FCC is starting to crack down, okay? They're really starting to crack down. When things become popular and things become hot, guess what, folks? People take notice. And when people take notice, the good, the bad, and the ugly come out of it, okay? The good, hey, we're using this, it's doing great and everything. The bad, and like that. The ugly, these people are really screwing things up. And it happens with all radio things. It does. It does, okay? But I want to go back to here because people say, well, I got to buy a GMRS radio. No, no, no. Unless such a transmitter is also certified for use in another radio service for which the frequency is authorized and for which certification is also required. Alrighty? Once again, look at where we're at here, okay? I want to show that. ECFR, Title 47, Chapter 1, Subchapter D, Part 95, specifically Rule 95.1761, GMRS transmitter certification, parent C. Now, with that, this is the Gov website. This isn't some Wikipedia bullshit, whatever. No. This is stamp that on there, okay? Now, what other radio service is going to go ahead and have frequency authorization in the 462 and 467 megahertz range that requires certification? Is it amateur? But no, it's not. Amateur radio does not operate in those frequencies, right? So let's go up here to this baby right here. This baby right here is Title 47, Chapter 1, Subchapter D, Part 90. This is where we're going to get into business radios, okay? That's where this thing falls into play. Now, I bring up this section of Part 90.203, certification requirement. So as we look, and this is a long read, I'm not going to hide or deny this part, but look at this part right here, okay? Part J, okay, so Part 90, Subpart J, except where otherwise specifically provided for, transmitters operating on the frequency in the 150 to 174 and 406 to 512 megahertz bands must comply with the following. Must comply with the following. Okay? Guess what? 406 to 512 withholds the 462 and the 467 megahertz range. Therefore, Part 90 radios are going to be authorized to be used on Part 95 frequencies and situations. Okay? It is. If you take a look at average radios, you will see radios on there. And I'm talking Part 90 certified. So I'm talking your Motorola's, I'm talking your Kenwoods, I'm talking your EF Johnsons, your ICOMs, your, who else is out there? Your bowel, I don't want to talk about bowel things. Now I'm going to get sick on there. But, your other ones that are out there, your Cure Sons, okay? Your, whatever the case may be. If they are certified, if they're actually true certified radios, not the cheap Chinese crap, which isn't always certified, they're going to meet the specifications and requirements here. Alrighty? Now, as you see, this does go into long read. But one of the things that I feel is important that must be pointed out here, okay, is the channel stepping. And that is where all this comes into play. Your channel stepping is going to be the requirement because when you're talking bandwidth and you're talking channel stepping on there, that's where your Part 90 radios are going to be there. They're going to do that 2.5 kilohertz step. Okay, they're going to do that 6.25 kilohertz emission or bandwidth on there. Alrighty, they're going to do 12.5 kilohertz bandwidth, and they're going to have like the 6.25 kilohertz channel stepping that you need. All right. Don't go too deep into the woods on me with this. But what I'm saying is that these radios, Part 90 radios, meet this right here. So Part 90 and Part 95 are going to be able to be used on GMRS. Okay. Now, where does it get different? Well, it gets into the mud and it gets sticky when you don't have a GMRS license. Okay. Alrighty. So when we start talking about FRS, now we got to go up here. We're going to go up to the table of contents here. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go out of subpart E. What we're going to do is we're going to close this up here. And I'm going to actually go back here because there's a couple different subparts here. That's when I'm going to go to subpart B, which deals with family radio service. And I'm going to open up the table of contents here. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to go to FRS transmitter certification. Okay. Now, this is where we're going to start to get into the crust of things here. Okay. Now it's going to talk about your power output on there. Transmitter design that can only transmit on the emission. So once it tells you can't do digital transmitters, you know, it goes through all these kind of things on there, but it also does go ahead and tell you the antenna of each FRS transmitters must meet the following requirements. Antenna must be non-removable internal part of the FRS transmitter. Okay. So can I buy this radio without a GMR license, program in FRS frequencies, and can I use it without a GMRS license? Technically by the rules, no. Why? Because look, the antenna can come off, okay? The antenna comes off. The antenna comes off, guess what? It does not meet the requirements on there. You need a GMRS license to do it, okay? That's part of Part 95. It tells you that. The different subparts tell you what you're going to go ahead and do. And I only say that, and I only bring that up because, once again, we have such a crowding of the GMRS band starting to take place, and FRS is right near there. And as a matter of fact, FRS, if we go up all of the frequencies here, you're going to see, technically, while these are only FRS frequencies, look, you can actually talk channel 15 through 22. Actually, I don't even highlight it better there, show you the frequencies, actually are the output of repeaters. So normally most FRS users stay up here. They stay channels 1 through 7. And the reason being is 1 through 7 allows for 2 watts. Okay. But if we go back to the part 95 there, or we start to take a look at it, we're going to go subpart E here again. And then we're going to go down to transmitter certification, which is right here. Or they need to be able to talk on certain frequencies and everything like that on there. But anyways, what I'm getting at though is that you have to have these certain transmitters for the purpose. Now, this is also kind of the aspect of saying, you know, be aware of what you're doing and who you're communicating with. Can I, as a GMRS user, use my 5-watt handheld on FRS channels and talk to a 2-watt FRS user? Yeah, if the channels overlap, 100% legal. I have to identify, but that's fine. But does it only have to be a Part 95 radio? No, I can do this. This is my multi-band radio that has UHF channels in it, which also happens to have GMRS because I'm a GMRS operator. I can turn this to FRS channel 4, let's say, and I could talk on my radio 5 watts, which is a Part 90 certified radio, which meets the requirements of Part 95 usage for GMRS. And I could talk to someone who is using an FRS radio, once again, let's say channel 4, who only has an FRS radio for 2 watts and meets their requirements. That can happen. But where that difference line comes into play is that if you're using GMRS, how you can bounce between the 2 different parts. Now, why is this? Well, to be perfectly honest with you, the reason that this occurs is because not a lot of places are going ahead and building GMRS radios that everybody wants. Alrighty? Kenwood, Motorola, their Vertex product line, ICOM, Curison, Maxon, trying to think who else is out there now. Like those radios that are actually like manufactured, people stand behind them. Hyteras even, you will go and throw in there. Guess what? They aren't building radios for a GMRS. Okay, they might, some of them might build like specific GMRS models, but on the average, if they're going to go ahead and be using something that's non-amateur, they're building radios which are going to be frequency agile that cover Part 90 certifications. Because guess what? I'm going to tell you this. Part 90 users, which is public safety, which is business, which is can be GMRS users, can be all those things. That is a heck of a lot of a bigger opening for market share than it is to go ahead and do just GMRS users. But the radios can bounce back and forth. Now, one of the other reasons I bring this forth up here today is really because of this. This is not going to get you. Once again, this is an amateur radio. And I know you people go ahead and mod it. Worst thing, I'll be honest with you, I think it's the worst thing that you could go ahead and do in any way, shape, or form. And the reason I say it's the worst thing you could do in any way, shape, or form is because these transmitters are not designed to transmit on there. I don't care what amateur radio company you deal with or anything like that. If it's an amateur radio certified transmitter, it's going to be the amateur bands. They don't really pull out that far, okay? And I know, I hear all these people, I can use any frequency I want in an emergency. Well, yeah, continue to think that, but it's not going to go that way, all righty? It's not going to happen, especially this day and age. I'm just going to tell you that. Lots of stuff on there, people think that they could do that, and it's not going to happen on there. But, nevertheless, that was kind of this quick episode here of talking about Part 90 and Part 95 transmitters and those kind of things like that on there. And, of course, as always, it's that time of the episode. You know what really bends my antenna? You know what really bends my antenna is the one or two or few people that really kind of go ahead and don't want to play by the rules, as we talked about here today. And you know what? They kind of jackhole us, the rest of us that play by the rules. The Part 90, Part 95, and Part 97 rules, yeah, there's a lot of read. It's a lot of government and, all like bill language and laws and everything. But for the most part, it's pretty dang easy to follow, folks. It really is. Alrighty? If you're going to be using, in this case, GMRS radios, okay, GMRS frequencies, you A, have to have a license, you B, have to have a certified transmitter. That's either a Part 95 transmitter or a Part 90 transmitter, okay? That meets those requirements. Part 90 and Part 95, that's it. You can't go ahead and saying, okay, I'm going to take a Part 97, or I'm going to go ahead and take some other radio and you're going to tinker with it and do a Radio Shack scenario situation, and then you're going to go ahead and translate. No, folks, that's how we get in trouble. That's how you screw us law-abiding citizens over in this case. And I only say that because, once again, it's an expanding, really quickly expanding usage out there. So once we're doing this, once we get into this maelstrom of things, once again, popularity is going to go ahead and do it, and people are going to watch. And the minute someone screws up, guess what? We are all guilty by association. We all are guilty by association. I know, once again, I said, some people think I could use anything, any frequency, anything I want in an emergency. No, folks, that's not true. That used to be kind of different back in the day, maybe, but it's not true anymore. I don't care what people say. You're gonna agree or you're gonna hate it. There's no two ways about it. You're left Twix, right Twix on this kind of thing, okay? And what really it boils down to is that people think that I can take my radio and I could use it. I can program in public safety frequency. I can plug it. No, you can't. I guarantee you, if you go ahead and use your amateur radio, you use a GMRS radio, and you use it to talk on illegal frequencies or something like that, or even a Part 90 radio, you buy it and you do that thing, they're going to come for you. They're going to come hot and heavy, okay? From where I used to work, from what I used to do, we had people that were using the wrong channel, okay? The wrong channel for certain things. And then the smack got laid down on there, all righty? This, people, also, too, is when we start using radios improperly, goes ahead and starts to cause things to happen, such as, like, encryption on channels, okay? GMRS doesn't allow encryption. Amateur radio doesn't allow encryption. Part 90 does, but guess what? That's for Part 90 frequencies, not GMRS Part 95 frequencies on there. But that's what's going to happen if we don't play by the rules. There are stories and news articles that are coming out by this that people are getting in trouble for screwing around on GMRS. People are getting in trouble for using GMRS in improper manners. Okay? If we want to go ahead and continue to play this as an arrogant thing, and I'll do it now and beg for forgiveness later. Guess what? There are some times where you cannot beg for forgiveness. And if you can't beg for forgiveness, then you're screwed. Because guess what? That's what's going to happen. They're going to say you should have known better. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse and gets you out of trouble. If you are speeding and you're doing 75 and a 55 and the cop pulls you over, the cop's going to go ahead and going to say, you know how fast you're going? It's like, I didn't know what the speed limit was here. No. Find a speed sign. Pull up your GPS. It will tell you what it is. Ignorance of the law doesn't work. And I send this out as a message. And the reason I send this out as a message is because I'm going to assume that the people that tune into the channel that might watch this video are going to be in the mindset of saying, you know what? I am a law-abiding citizen. Or, you know what? Maybe I have cut a couple diodes on a radio or something and I'm using an illegal radio on a different band. But now that needs to stop. Now we need to be the ambassadors. Now we need to be able to protect this. Okay? GMRS is great because you buy a license, it covers your immediate family. Alrighty? Buying one license for me allows me, my wife, my kids, my mom, my dad, my in-laws, all of us can have it. Guess what we just need? We just need radios, and they need to be the proper radios to do it. Okay? That's it. I have friends that have GMRS licenses. I have friends that even talking about like, hey, I want to put a GMRS repeater up at my hunting cabin. Great usage, great purpose of it. Okay, great purpose of it. But all it does is it takes those few people out there to do that, to get into trouble, and guess what? The news doesn't normally point out all the happy things. The news likes to go ahead and gnash its teeth on things that are newsworthy or the bad people or something like that on there. Now, I'm not going to get into a dispute on that. What I'm saying is that the positive news articles out there are going to be skipped over for articles of like amateur radio operator fined for illegal usage of GMRS channels, or business going ahead and using GMRS channels when they're not allowed, those kind of things like that. Now, once again, I'm not the FCC, I'm not the radio police or anything like that, but I'm going to tell you, we're going to be spoiled, we're going to be ruined, we're going to be guilty by association if we don't act as ambassadors. And that's, you know, what really bends my antenna. So thank you for tuning into this episode of Communications and Cigars. I do appreciate it. I hope you got a lot out of this. And I really say, if you want to dig more into it, go back into our videos. You'll see it if you're on our YouTube channel. I think it's the first video that pops up as a popular videos, and it talks about the ECFR codes, and we delve into this thing, and we get deep into it and everything like that. But this was a big compare and contrast between Part 90 and Part 95 type radios on there. Make sure, if you want to be notified when we go ahead and have shows and everything like that, please feel free to subscribe. I don't ask you to subscribe. You don't feel that you need to on there, but hey, it gives you notifications when we post that an upcoming show is going to be coming and up and aired. So the weather is kind of getting nice. We're moving into fall, cooler temperatures, and if you're in the upper Midwest on there, it's great evening to sit outside with a cigar, enjoy the weather, get up early in the morning and enjoy the days and everything like that. So until then, I want everybody to stay safe. I want everybody to take care and enjoy the nice coming weather. Enjoy the holiday season, which is right around the corner on there. And until then, take care, stay safe. God bless everyone.